Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Steelers Roundtable. I'm Paulk, joined in studio by Chris Adamski, and later on from San Francisco via satellite, as it used to say back in the day, on ABC Wide World of Sports, Mark Aboli, out covering the Super Bowl 50, where the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos will hook up on Sunday in San Francisco, actually Santa Clara. Chris, I've given this Super Bowl a lot of thought, but at the same time, I don't think anyone's giving the Super Bowl more thought than Mike Tomlin. And the other day, I just happened to see, General Manager Kevin Colbert in the cafeteria. He looking into the distance. I'm thinking, man, what is this guy actually thinking? You see, he was just peering out there, and I think there's a sense from Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin. We talked about this, last week, is that I really think this football team believed they were going to be in San Francisco this weekend, playing for the World Championship. And I think it's one of the things that I'm liking back to that Denver game, the look on Mike Tomlin's face. There was a belief, that this team could beat New England and get to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to let this go because I actually believe Mike Tomlin believed that, and I believe him. I'll agree with him. And this may be one of those deals where this is a Super Bowl, an opportunity loss, for the Steelers. Now, that said, the bottom line is that they didn't get there, and they're looking for ways to improve this football team. Already made some personnel move, made some signings. I think probably one of the more significant ones is they do have to deal with the issues on defense, particularly in secondary. So signing Ross Cockrell, getting that out of the way, and there'll be some other moves down the road. And Rick, the idea is getting this team to the next step, and that's getting, to the conference championship game, winning, getting to the Super Bowl. But let's talk for a second, though, Chris. This Super Bowl. The one question I always ask myself: do we have the best teams in pro football playing for the World Championship? I happen to think that we do. There's a part of me think the Steelers were better than Denver. Sometimes fate is what it is, but I do believe Carolina is the best team in pro football.
Yeah, well, if you look at Carolina's, what's very basic here, they're 15-1. All right, there's a point. I think we even joked last week about they're going to be the worst, or they could be the worst 18-1 team in NFL history, and right now they're the worst 17-1 team in NFL history, and all that stuff. And our Joe Starkey wrote a column in the Tribune Review. So at the time, I think they were 10-1 or something. They're the worst or 10-0 team, whatever it is. The results are results. So it's you could make a case here and say it's because Seattle had been in the previous two Super Bowls. I know a lot of people thought Seattle was the best team in the NFC. Arizona earlier in the season, the whole Carson Palmer dynamic reared its head in the postseason. You could make the case in a lot of ways. Maybe Arizona, if other than quarterback, might be as good as Carolina or better than Carolina. But again, 15-1, the one seed making the Super Bowl, and the AFC was a lot more kind of up in the air. If Peyton Manning of even 2 years ago, I think it'd be a slam dunk. Because quarterback means so much. Again, I'm going back to Carson Palmer and this 39-year-old Peyton Manning. It's almost as if the entire you have defense, offense everywhere else, and then quarterback are your three. They're all equally weighted almost when how you evaluate a team. But hey, it's the number one defense in the league, number one pass defense in the league, number one in sacks in the league. To this defense, and that's why they beat New England. Let's make no mistake about it. Was that defense, and it's part of the reason why Pittsburgh had so much trouble scoring against them too. So let's put it this way: there certainly wasn't. If you want to sit here and go back and forth, if somebody did and say New England was better, Pittsburgh was better, Cincinnati at some points, maybe the first three quarters of the season was better than Denver. You could probably have the discussion, but I don't think anybody could sit here and say, oh, Denver's a Cinderella team or anything like that. I tend to think they probably are, yes, the best team in the AFC. So that's the long answer
I'm
to
going
your
sit
short
here
question.
And tell you, I think Denver's a very fortunate football team. One to actually beat the Steelers, who I thought were a better football team, frankly. Didn't play their best game, if not for a fumble. And look, we can go back and say the same thing with the Cleveland Browns. Somehow I always work the Cleveland Browns into this conversation. But anyway, the Kevin Byner, fumble, and the Broncos go to the Super Bowl. But you mentioned about the quarterbacks, and the bottom line is this is a quarterback's game. The league has, set the rules in such a way that they favor the quarterback. They're giving the receivers advantages against the quarterbacks. But in this game, if it is about the quarterbacks, then clearly this is a Cam Newton versus Peyton Manning battle. And if we were to be honest, we're going into this game on Sunday. On paper, based on their performances this season, this is a mismatch of major proportions. Cam Newton, the eminent MVP of the season, against a broken down Peyton Manning, who was just below average against the Steelers, and they still won that game.
Oh, yeah.